Mecklenburg County Planning Commission order. If you'd like to speak, please come up and sign the forms. Please turn your cell phones off. The restroom is out the door and down the hall. The speakers, applicants tonight will be given 30 minutes to present their application, and those speaking for or against will have 3 minutes. And you'll be timed on the timer as always, and notified when your time is up. Please always make all your comments to us when you're up here speaking. All right, please stand as we do the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We're now going to public hearing. First item on our agenda tonight, Mecklenburg County Zoning Office has received an application request from Albert and Audrey Dunley for a special exception permit for a sorting recycling site. This property is located in Mecklenburg County, zone agriculture, and is located on the south side of Highway 58, and it is 2 miles west of its intersection with Route 693 Rogers Road. Is the applicant here to speak?
Yes.
I can't get this thing to come up. What do I need to hit? It is, right. Okay, there you go.
It's not connected.
Should we try it in another spot? See if it works.
Gotcha. Can they just aim it this way and we see it?
I think we want everybody to see it.
Oh, okay.
You want me to give it a second or just turn it around?
Shoot, I can't get this thing to work.
That's it. Oops, I'm sorry. Go back to that. Where's the connecting up? Right here. There you go. That's it. Yeah, that's it. Which one you want to get?
Drive your service truck first.
Go back there.
But the only way to fix these things is what happened.
Yeah.
Right.
It only I can fix it.
Probably help me out again.
No, that's what,
Right, you gotta put your username
that's all
password.
it is, disconnect it.
No, I don't have to do it.
You might have to, so it's not communicating.
It's not breaking it for some reason.
Okay.
Because it works everything else, but it's not breaking that one.
See, you can go back to the other screen.
Mine works, that's why I usually can. It says use password.
I know it.
I just keep hitting stuff, I'll get it.
Keep going.
I'll get it somewhere. I'll get the booger.
That's what I need, you know.
I've got it fixed, I don't have to do it.
Mine does too, but mine pop, when I hit that, it pops up, says use password, and if you hit that,
The neighbors went around and looked at it, checked it out. 3 times, so, it seems like a pretty low.
how does he make
How you
it?
doing? My name is Albert Dudley, owner of American Catalyst Recycling. And just a little bit about us. We're a recycling company in Boynton, Virginia, specializing in recycling. Non-ferrous materials, wood, pallet, cardboard, such material. We changed our stuff about September. We decided to start recycling on a designated Microsoft site. And so what we're trying to do is we've been gathering data and trying to see how much is going into the landfill, how much we could actually recycle off of one of these sites. And what we're doing right now is pretty substantial as far as the numbers we're getting. And as far as I know, we're the only recycling company, I know in Mecklenburg County, but I spoke with several people at DEQ. As far as Southern Virginia, nobody's actually got a facility like this. So what we're trying to do is do a learning curve and actually learn how to recycle all the materials off of these sites instead of just putting them into the landfill. So what we're doing now is, I think it's on there, we've gotten, in 6 months, 1.2 million pounds out of is what we've kept out of the landfill.
From one job site.
From one job site.
Okay.
So, and that is a single building site. So if we, some of the mega sites and the other sites, you're looking probably anywhere to 4 million pounds every 6 months that we could keep out of the landfill. So, and this is all reusable, recycled material. Like I said, it's not something that's going to go away in the landfill. Mm-hmm. It's something that, non-ferrous items, wire, stuff of that nature needs to be taken out and recycled. So that's what our goal is, and that's what we've been doing. So.
Okay, I saw some of the photos that we had. The wood. What are y'all doing exactly with that?
So what we're doing is we get a lot of wood, and what we're doing is we're going to pallet companies like Pallet One. You've got Virginia Pallet, and a lot of it's going to chipping. So what they're going to do is they're turning those pallets that are broken into mulch. Mm-hmm. So they're basically getting broke down and reused.
Okay.
So what we're trying to do is recycle everything that we can. And so far, we've been on close to a 60% to 65% a month on the totals, which is somewhere around, I want to say 125,000 pounds a month, or
Yeah.
125,000 pounds a month. So we're recycling close to 60% of that, to 65%.
Okay. And of course, all your wire and all that stuff is your metals and all that stuff. You're sending that directly.
Right.
Sorting.
We're hand sorting, and we're sending that to other companies. And so what we're doing too on that is wire, different types of materials. We're trying to get rid of it locally. Mm-hmm. So it kind of comes back to the community too.
Okay. Okay. All right. And what is your hours operation there?
We usually start, they get an earlier start. They're usually 7 to 3:30.
Okay.
That's about the times that we're running.
7 to 5:30, 7 to 7 to 10.
Sometimes it goes pretty late.
Whatever we got to do, we do it to make it work.
I understand. All right. Any other questions?
Yes, sir.
What about plastic? You haven't considered plastic?
We're doing.
That's our biggest enemy.
Yes, sir. We're doing plastic, and we're trying to get it where we're going to start baling it.
Okay.
And once we get a substantial weight baled, unfortunately, they don't let us do like 100 pounds. We have to ship right much, but it actually adds up quicker than you think. We should have close to 4 bales. One company I spoke with, they have to have like 4,000 pounds at a time to 5,000 pounds at a time. And I think that they're going to be one of our better plastic recyclers.
Okay.
We're kind of new with all of this.
Yes,
We've
this
been
is a
only
learn as we
dealing
go thing
with
because
metals.
it's a specialized kind of recycling for a company that hasn't been done.
Right.
So we're kind of learning as we go
Yeah,
too.
and we're trying to connect with companies that are local
Right.
and keep it in the county as best as we can.
And whatever you can't recycle, you just carry it to the
Goes
landfill.
straight back to the landfill. I talked with Dave. He's a really good guy. We do right much business with them on the commingled that we cannot recycle. So whatever we pull out that is 100% recyclable, whatever does not, that's commingled or, damaged in any way, it goes straight to the landfill. And we're working with them. It's not hurting them at all because
No.
these recyclables, they cannot use them and get them out. So
We've spent over $7,000 with the Southside landfill since January.
So we're working with them.
Yeah, so
Right.
they're not
It's
losing.
not taking anything from them. Just
Okay.
wanted to make that clear.
Right, right. I understand. Okay. Any other discussion? Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Laura?
Hi, I'm Lori Huber. My husband Ross Huber and I are here tonight. We also provided you some comments on this ahead of time, so I'm going to be really brief. We're the next house away from the location of this operation, but there's quite a few fields and things in between. We are thrilled to see recycling starting in a real tangible way down here. We wish there were more recycling facilities in Mecklenburg County. Anytime you're diverting materials that have value from the landfill, it's a good thing. The only thing we would caution you about is to limit the activities to the separating and sorting that's in the proposal. I spent many decades working in the hazardous waste business and the waste business generally, and there are some things that can get mixed in with industrial waste that are very nasty, and we'd hate to see them leaked or buried at the site or burned at the site. I'm very happy to hear that stuff that's not obviously easily recyclable goes to the landfill. So that's just echoing the comments that were submitted to you guys.
Okay, thank you.
That's it.
All right. Any other calls or letters?
No, sir.
All right, any discussion?
Mr. Chairman, that's in my district, and we had a couple neighbors that come in, complained a little bit, but once they went up there and talked with this couple here and saw what they were doing, they were real pleased with what they were doing and all. So with that said, I recommend we approve this application for the following reason. It will not be detrimental to the public welfare. It will not affect adversely the health or safety of persons or neighborhood of the proposed use. By sorting and recycling these materials, it will save space within the local landfill. There is no other sorting recycle site of this type within the county. The owner will ensure the entrance from this site into Highway 58 eastbound will remain clean of mud and other debris at all times. The application will meet VDOT requirements for a commercial interest if it expands its operation. The owner will be required to obtain all necessary permits with DEQ.
Okay, motion's been made. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second, Mr. Raymond. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carries. All right, next item on our agenda tonight, proposed amendments to Article 20, solar facilities of the Mecklenburg County zoning ordinance to remove utility scale solar facilities as permitted use in any zoning district in the county with or without special exception permit, but which proposed amendments would provide the special exception permit applications for utility scale solar facilities that have been submitted to Mecklenburg County Zoning Office before March 10th, 2025 would not be subject to the proposed amendments and would be allowed to move forward to the conclusion under the current Mecklenburg County zoning ordinance provision concerning utility scale solar facilities. The proposed amendments have been initiated by the resolution adopted by Mecklenburg County Board of Supervisors on March 10th, 2025. If you wish to submit any written comments in advance to public hearing, please submit those. All right.
On this Article 20, this is removing large-scale solar, and it's been several discussions at the planning commission meeting and the board meetings that the projects that we have going through the process to be grandfathered. And of course, this says any special exception permit, but it should have also included any comprehensive plan.
Correct.
Because the steps that you have to go through is, the first step is you do the comp plan review.
Right.
And it determines what way that is approved or disapproved is your next step. So if we went with just a special exception permit, then that would knock out our last one by this ordinance. But you all can decide to go ahead with the three that we have and allow them, even with this change in the ordinance, to submit their SCP if the comp plan that they have submitted is approved.
Okay. All right.
Okay. Ryan?
Good evening, Board. My name is Ryan Romack. I'm a resident of Halifax and Charlotte counties. I run an agrivoltaic vegetation management company founded in 2023 to expand off our home farm operation. Last year alone, with our small flock of 700 sheep on 350 acres of solar, we spent approximately $145,000 on mowing equipment at local dealers, $38,000 for livestock supplies at local feed stores and local hay purchases from local county farmers. Additionally, $100,000 on payroll for hiring local labor to cut grass and also using local farmers to shepherd the sheep. The revenue from the solar didn't just disappear, it was revitalized cash-starved rural agricultural communities. The fund supported local farmers, purchased feed, farm equipment, seed, hay, livestock, and vet care from our local areas. Through agrivoltaics, this money is being spent year-round in our communities. We estimate the average spent locally on an agrivoltaic managed site to be $120 or more per acre. That's $120 annually spent per acre for agricultural use on a solar facility. $120 an acre adds up if agrivoltaics was adopted across the county and the state. Additionally, we import a little over half of the land that's consumed in the United States. Imagine if we take advantage of these solar facilities and make that 0%. This ordinance on solar development in Mecklenburg County would be a multi-million-dollar mistake regarding our agricultural community. A decision to shut down utility solar development would suffocate local farm-based businesses and block an incredible opportunity for rural growth here in Mecklenburg. It's our belief that limiting solar development is detrimental to landowners' rights, and landowners ought to have the freedom to decide how to use their land, especially when it means economic prosperity for themselves and the community. We need the power in lieu of the data centers, but with data centers, we need a resilient power grid, otherwise our bills will continue to climb. And as a local farmer who's creating jobs, strengthening agriculture, and driving economic growth, I urge you guys to choose carefully with the future of agricultural development in mind. And thank you.
Thank you.
Laura?
Hi, Lori Huber, Ross Huber, Highway 58, Boyton. I also submitted something to you guys about how we feel about the solar, the proposal to limit solar development in the county. I've been here before, you know I'm pro-solar. I'm not thrilled about the huge utility scale, but when it's done well, it's a wonderful thing, as we just heard from Ryan. But my take on it is a little different. I wanted to emphasize that Virginia's number one. You know what we're number one at? We are the largest recipient of electricity from another state in the country. More than any other state, more than California, more than Texas, more than New York. We bring more power, more electricity into Virginia than any other state, even though our population is much, much smaller than those states I just named. We need to expand and broaden our energy resources, our sources of electricity. Solar energy is clean. Once it's installed, it practically runs itself. We heard about the agrivoltaics just now, where the mowing expenses can be greatly reduced with animals feeding. You can farm under these panels. There's studies of folks in the north and the Illinois where they get higher production growing vegetables under solar panels than on fields, because frankly, too much sun stresses some of the vegetables. So I'm just here to say, broaden our options. Don't paint yourself into a corner. Don't ban, don't cap, don't limit. Thank you.
Thank you.
Blake?
Good evening, y'all. Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the Planning Commission. My name is Blake Cox. I'm one of the founders of a nonprofit called Energy Right. I'm from Chesterfield, by the way, where we're trying to bring a fact-based conservative voice to this clean energy conversation across Virginia. So I know this topic has been a hot topic for a while, talking about removing solar from the ordinance. I think my request from you guys here tonight is to ask you to not move forward with that proposal. I hope you guys will do what you've done in the past, is to continue to evaluate these projects individually and on their merits. I think opportunity is the key here to give landowners that option. Looking at some of the conversations that happened at the state level this year, my fear is that the state is going to look at actions like this, seeing solar removed from the ordinance, and they are going to look to take local control away from counties. I don't think that's a good thing. I think Mecklenburg is best suited to make decisions about Mecklenburg, not Richmond. And so I think that's why we should be looking to keep a policy in place simply for the opportunity for landowners to bring these projects forward just for your consideration. I always like to say these are private landowners working with a private company. Nobody's being forced to do this. So I just think the landowners should have the opportunity to bring these projects forward for your consideration. But thank you for your time.
Thank you.
That was it for that one.
Okay. None against?
Nope.
That's everybody? Any other calls?
Mm-mm.
Okay. All right, is there any discussion? Mr. Brain?
No.
All right. Any other discussion? All right, do I hear a motion on this application? I move we approve this application.
I'll second it.
With the, Mr. Ramey, with the extension on the one with the comprehensive plan. That will cover all three that we have now, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. You want to do a roll call on this?
You can do it, Bob.
Okay. All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carries.
Who seconded it?
Mr. Ramey.
Okay.
All right, next item on our agenda tonight, Mecklenburg County has received in our office an application by Seven Bridges Solar for a special exception permit to construct a 435 acre out of 1,249 acres for an 80 megawatt solar energy facility to be located in Mecklenburg County. This property is zoned agriculture, is located on the west side of Route 633, Scotts Crossroads, and at its intersection with Route 681, Honey Tree Road. This is in Election District 7.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Well, I'll get started. Let's see.
You need to connect to Wi-Fi?
No, I don't need the Wi-Fi. There we go. All right.
I'm not seeing it. Maybe I missed it. Oh, right here, staff report. Okay.
Okay. Good evening, Mr.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Chairman, members of the Planning Commission. My name is Cliff Schur. I'm a development director with Long Road Energy. We understand that we are allotted 30 minutes tonight. I don't expect that we'll take all that time now, so if there is remaining time, I'd hope to reserve it for after the public comment period if there is anything that would be helpful to respond to. Long Road Energy, as you've heard before, I've been in front of you before, is founded in 2016. A team of folks who've been working together for over 15 years founded the company. They were working together formally at a company called First Wind, and then in 2016 founded Long Road. Since then, we have developed and moved into construction over 5,000 megawatts of projects. That includes wind, solar, and energy storage. This is a map of projects that we operate. So we are a developer, owner, and operator. What that means is that every project that we work on, we look at with the perspective of what are the solutions that would be appropriate for the project in the long term that would make it a project that is easier to operate and better for the community. So on this map in dark yellow, you can see the solar projects that we own and operate. That's and then in dark blue are wind projects that we own and operate. And then we also operate over around 2,000 megawatts of projects that we operate as a service. So we also operate projects for other companies and develop projects all across the country, including Seven Bridges Solar, which we've been working on since 2017. On this slide is a list of some of the vendors that we work with, including First Solar, Nextracker. Both are American companies that we have strong relationships with. We're careful about the companies that we work with, from construction firms to suppliers. I'm not sure why this keeps cutting out.
I have no idea.
Oh, well.
The only other thing you plug
Let's
is
see.
right here.
You did it on the other one too.
Well, and let's see. Nice to have this.
What's recommendation for?
Re-recommended.
Right.
Yeah. So old, it's got whiskers on it.
Yeah.
Two of them, when I looked at it 3 years ago.
I guess I could keep going. Any solutions here?
I'm not an IT person.
Do you know?
I've got it set, but it's for some reason.
What fixed it before?
Unplugged and plugged it.
On the computer, or is there a power switch for the?
No, it's just the HDMI cord.
We gotta get that fixed.
Yeah, it's been going on for a while.
It's nice when it works.
Well,
If you just want to continue on through your presentation.
okay, and I think we've got a couple of hard copies actually that could pass around. Yeah, we've got one. So
I've got a note that
yeah,
emailing.
hold on to this. It's on. Oh, now this is working. Okay. Let's see, pass this one around, I guess, and I can talk through this one because now we've got the TVs working.
Hold it around where they can see
Yeah,
it.
thank you. All right. So, Everbridge Solar is
We
this
got
teeny
you.
tiny project right here. So fit on a page even. It's 3 miles outside of Chase City, in the middle of a timber property. That's over 1,200 acre timber property. The footprint that we'd be developing is around 435 acres. So you could see on here is the fenced area is and outline is the dark red, and then the pink is the panel area. There'd be openings between the panels, room to graze sheep, which we are planning to do on this project. There's no fence around the development area, so wildlife would be free to move across the property. This green hatched area in the north is 250 acres that we plan to conserve, and that would be conserved in perpetuity with a focus on
Better work quick, Cliff.
on wildlife.
Talk quick.
Don't sneeze. Yeah, the focus on wildlife and conservation. So I'm glad that's working. Over the time that we've been developing this project, we've responded to community feedback in a number of ways. That includes increasing the setbacks from Scotts Cross Road, from the South Meharon River, placing that 250 acres, committing to place that into conservation, and also committing to donate $150,000 to the Clarksville-Ruriton Energy Bill Assistance Program. You can see on this map the changes that we've made over the time that we've been developing this project. In the blocks, the darker blocks on there are panel areas that were previously considered that we're not developing. And that includes, to the south, that large area is a 1,500 acre property that's separate, that's planned to stay in timber. And here you can see on the pink area is the panels, as you saw on the last slide, and the green lines are wildlife areas. So those are there to indicate the openings between the panel areas that wildlife would be free to move through. So there's a significant amount of room for wildlife on this property because there'd be over 800 acres that we're not utilizing for our project. And an additional question that we've gotten a lot is what happens at the end of life? At the end of the project, are you just going to walk away and leave it there? In all of our agreements, we are committed and obligated to remove the equipment at the end of life, but we're also posting a financial assurance with the county in the form of a bond or a letter of credit or some type of financial security that would be provided based on the cost to remove the equipment. And that cost would be reevaluated every 5 years. So We've also been looking at the research on restoring land after solar projects. And while, this is timberland currently, there is, research has shown that ag land can be restored, to ag use even with supplements and tillage. So whether it's destined for timber or ag use or development, whatever the future owners of the property and the county guidance is at that time. So this next slide, which will hopefully show up on the screen in a second, is an overview of the economic benefits from our project. During construction, there'd be over $30 million in economic output from the construction activity. That includes $17 million in direct spending, and then another $14 million in indirect and induced spending. This will be up there soon, hopefully. Over the life of the project, there'd be $10 million in county revenue, and that comes from revenue share programs and an increase in property taxes. Also, during construction, we're expecting over 150 jobs. Now, one thing that's unique about this project is that we've made a commitment to the town of Chase City, because that's an area that we've seen has not necessarily had as much economic development as Clarksville and South Hill. We've made a commitment to contribute $500,000 to Chase City at the time of construction. So we're hoping to be able to get to that milestone in the not too distant future. I mentioned that we worked with First Solar previously, which is an American-based company supported by over 16,000 American jobs. And I believe I mentioned the utility assistance program that Clarksville Raritan runs, where we'd be donating $150,000 in local utility assistance. Now, the reason we've done that is because we always get the question, well, how is this going to affect my energy bills? We sell power into the wholesale electricity market, so we don't sell to residential customers, but we saw that as a way to help people who needed help with their electricity bill, and we were happy to find a program locally that actually does that. Now, the project also has environmental benefits attached to it. As I mentioned, we're conserving 250 acres between the project area and the South Meherrin River. We would plant native species and pollinator-friendly species integrated into the project area. And we're also pursuing sheep grazing on the project. That would be within the fenced areas. So in that case, having multiple fenced areas is helpful because it helps to divide up the area for the sheep to graze. The timber buffer, which you'll see pictures of later, assuming this starts working again, is a minimum of 400 feet from Scotts Crossroads. In some cases, it's over 2,000 feet. And we also are set back over 950 feet from the South Meherrin River.
How much? From the river?
Over an average of 950 feet.
Okay.
Yeah. The smallest area is 500 feet to panels, and then the rest of the area is more significant setback.
Okay.
Yeah. So we also have experience building these projects, including next door in Halifax County. I have a colleague based in Farmville who was the project manager for that construction project, and we would dedicate, whether it's him or another person on the construction team, we would have a Long Road employee that is identified as the public liaison or point of contact for residents during construction. And with that, I'll hand it to Darren. If you want these.
Sure. Is this our guide here?
Looks like to me.
Good evening, Chairman Crum, Planning Commissioners, Darren Lawrence, Vice President of Environmental over at Long Road Energy, where I've been since the company started back in 2016. I had a chance to visit Mecklenburg County, meet with Mr. Mullen back in 2017. And
Recommendation
honestly,
for approval.
if you had told me I'd be
would
here
be
in
all of these
2025,
plus the
I'm
provision.
not sure I would have believed you at that point. Back in 2017, I'd also mentioned Long Road Energy hadn't built a single project. In fact, we hadn't even started building a single project. Today, we're the 15th largest renewable energy company in the United States. We've really been successful throughout the whole country by building trusted relationships with counties, with states, with communities. And I think that's a value that other people have recognized in the way that we conduct ourselves and the way other people experiences our work here. Now, I just want to acknowledge that's not been your experience with solar. I've heard and I understand you've been more than disappointed with the way stormwater has not been managed, the way revegetation hasn't happened, mud on the roads during construction, screening for vegetation, for visibility, where neighbors have been disrespected. Like, I understand other projects have not gone that well. I came here tonight hoping to give you some examples of how we are a project company that we get confidence of the people around the country and around our communities, because make and honor is one of our founders' kind of mottos for the company, and it's how we conduct ourselves. So I've got a couple examples I want to go through around. I realize they're not here in the county, they're around the country. But the point is, other people have found confidence in us because we've said we will do something. And I think it's important to say, not only have we said we're going to do it, but there are some hard problems to solve. And we find the right people to help us solve those problems to figure out how to make and honor that commitment that we've made. So a couple examples for you. I think the first one that I would point to, when I think about vegetation, that, Mr. Crump, you've mentioned emphatically, revegetation is really top priority for you. Up in the state of Maine, so we go north quite a ways, large project called Three Corners Solar, very similar to Seven Bridges, forested, surrounded by wetlands, streams, rolling terrain. We worked with the Department of Environmental Protection, kind of like DEQ here, to develop over many years a vegetation plan for stormwater management and regrowth. And we implemented during construction. And we did well enough that DEP said, hey, we want to bring our staff out to watch how you succeeded there. And they even brought other developers out to see how we were doing it. And for all these examples, I want to say, like, we have people that we'd offer their contact info. You could call them and have them share their experience with you. We're really, I guess we're proud that we were able to succeed in a really hard environment with a lot of rainfall. We also put 2,000 acres in conservation. So Cliff has said we will put 250 acres into a conservation easement forever. We did that for 2,000 acres up at Three Corners Solar. Much bigger project, more acres, but that was something we did. Next example, I want to kind of go way east to Arizona. Realize it's not here. Hot, dry desert. The problem out there is lack of rainfall, which causes dust, or too much rainfall because it comes all at once and it erodes dirt right off the ground, and then it causes erosion and gullies and all that. So I approached Arizona State University and said, hey, could we work on what they had been pioneering, which is biocrust growth? Biocrust is like this living layer in the desert that creates a hard layer that keeps dust from being produced and protects against erosion when the water flows. So I went to Arizona State University and said, could we use our site to accelerate growth of biocrust where we had built our project? And they agreed. We funded them. Right now, we've got biocrust out on site, and they're learning how to grow and accelerate growth and make faster this layer that'll protect against dust and erosion. In fact, I'm going out next week. We not only had the research, but we started a class. So I'm going to go out and teach part of the class to Arizona State University just because we want to talk about solar and how we're inviting this project to happen. I guess if I want to switch gears, I have one more note I'm going to make on Arizona, but I'm going to come back here to Fox Sound Solar for just a moment. 23 miles as the crow flies, kind of that direction. Fox Sound Solar, we developed that. We spent many years thinking about vegetation. How do we get it to grow? How do we get the soil to stabilize? How do we avoid violations during stormwater, during construction? That project, first only large-scale solar project to be Pollinator Smart certified. And I've got a nice photo here that I'll hold up for you to look at. Flowers. And by the way, this was taken last May, like right after construction. This wasn't years later. This was like we were working on this kind of throughout construction because that's what you have to do to succeed with these. One more Arizona example. So Arizona, one of the issues was burrowing owls live in the desert in areas where we had our projects. And burrowing owls, the only owl that lives underground in these little burrows. They're not here in Virginia. But we recognized the issue from Game and Fish. We talked to them, and Wild at Heart, which is a raptor rescue organization. They installed artificial burrows around our solar site, and then they've relocated owls to our site because they're looking for places to bring owls. So right now we have owls living around our solar site in these burrows, and where hopefully they'll stay over the long term. So we worked really closely with Wild at Heart, Raptor Rescue Organization, to try to, again, find a way to solve a problem, which was we're displacing habitat. That project actually, to our great surprise, was recognized in National Geographic. So this month, March of 2025, we're actually mentioned Long Road Energy in National Geographic for this burrowing owl research and relocation work that we're doing. So again, I mention that not to point at myself or ourselves, but to say other people have had confidence in our ability to address solutions, to address problems and find solutions so that we're not just building projects, but we're building really good projects and being really good neighbors. So going on to the last slide that I'll talk about, those are my kind of example projects, bringing that all the way back here to Seven Bridges. Cliff mentioned of the site, which is 1,295 acres that we have, 250 for conservation around the Meherrin River, around 800 continued timbering. We heard your concerns about the Meherrin River. We've heard your concerns about maintaining agriculture and timbering. So we have the timbering going on the site where we're not developing. 1,500 acres adjacent to the site we set aside. It's going to continue. And then the sheep grazing, which you've heard about, to not have just mechanical mowing, but to maintain agriculture by having sheep on the site. So those are ways that, again, I point to say we've listened really closely to your speaking to us, and over many years have developed a plan that not only have we developed for you to consider, but I'm providing examples to say other people have had a lot of confidence in our ability to execute on those. So I'm going to hand this back to Jim O'Rell at this point. He's going to talk a little more about the stormwater work we've done.
Your time's up.
Oh, time's up? Oh, gosh, that was fast. Can we get an outage exception for someone we lost?
I allowed for that. Yep.
Okay.
If you just
I want to hand. Do you have? This is just of the views from the road around the project.
okay.
You can see before on the top row and after underneath.
Okay.
Is your
Questions?
company a private, public?
We're a private company.
Okay.
Yeah, but you can read about our backers on our website. We're backed by a pension fund, an infrastructure fund, and an insurance company. Well, thank you very much for your time. I'd ask that you approve our SEP application. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Brian?
Good evening, Board. Ryan Romack, Halifax County. I'm not affiliated with Longwood Energy, but I've heard through the industry grapevine they're the company to work for. Longwood takes care to beneficially impact the community compared to other projects we've seen, and they do a great job of hiding sites from the road. Longwood is an owner-operator, and that's going to work in your guys' favor. With Longwood utilizing grazing on Seven Bridges, I hope you guys study up on how the 800 sheep or so will impact the county, and you consider this when regarding the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Ryan.
Laura?
Just to sort of tie a bow around it, you know, we're talking about whether or not to have solar facilities here in Mecklenburg County. I shared with you information that, you know, you can find it for yourself. There's lots of resources out there to talk about it. We need the energy. Electricity is going to be more and more of at a premium because of all the data centers that we're developing here and across the country and the world. You might say, well, we've got plenty of natural gas. Let's just finish the pipelines and that'll do the job. But frankly, it's all of the above. A full-size nuclear power facility will only provide the power for one of these hyperscale data centers. Virginia's talking about building 15 of them in the next year and a half. We need all the energy we can put together. Long Road is a great example. Seven Bridges is a great example of the kind of solar development that you want to see. If you're not happy with what has been done here so far, and we've gone out and looked at the sites, and they're not so great, but give a company a chance to show how it's done right, and then hold others to that account, to that level. I hope you let them continue forward in the process and get to build their facility.
Thank you.
Alden?
Thank you, Planning Commission, for seeing me. Alden Faragher, Mayor of Chase City. It's kind of funny getting to be Mayor of Chase City as an outsider myself. I grew up in Williamsburg, Virginia. I was neighbors with that guy, and I played with his kids. So John and Becky Laban, it's kind of a weird circumstance that we're here together. But I also know that it's kind of weird for an outsider to actually be Mayor of Chase City. It's tough to get people to know who you are, and trust is a very precious thing here. And I'm just amazed and impressed in how Long Road has been working with folks and talking and listening to everybody's concerns, and especially when they throw up objections to the facility, to see how they work through that and listen, and they actually care, and they want to hear and work on what the solution could be, and they've been building that trust. It's an impressive thing to me. And trust is something that's very precious to me as well. But it's been wonderful to see how they've done that. I will say that, if they didn't get approved, I would miss Cliff coming up here like he does, because when we have our Christmas events, he's there and his company's supporting it. We have other things, and I just get phone calls here and there, just checking in and seeing how things are going, and talk about stuff even beyond just what we're doing here and these things going forth. He's a neighbor, and I think his company would be a neighbor, and I think they've proven that to me and to many others, who are from here and who need to have that proof. And so I think that in them you will find a company that really lives up to the things that they promise and that they say, and they'll do it. We haven't seen that out of a lot of solar, and I think we'll see that out of them. And I wish they had come and done a project first here. Things might be a little bit different, how we feel about solar. But I just want to say that I'm very impressed with them as a company and Cliff as a person. So I hope you approve this project. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bev Wood?
Hello, Planning Commission. Got a tough job. I wouldn't want to have it. I just want to say I'm a native of Chase City, moved back here 10 years ago, and I'm very excited about what's happening in our community. I must say that I came right at the beginning of what was happening with solar, and I call it the solar power rush on our county. Many things were wrong. Mostly, we had companies not ready to educate us and meet us halfway in our discussions. Things like money, fear, and lying were used by companies to pit us against one another. We truly have come a long way. My hope has always been that we go slow and understand the process. As a reminder to all of us, my understanding of solar power, how it works, the need for it, and who we can trust have all given us more confidence in the process and what Mecklenburg needs to do. Seven Bridges is meeting us halfway. I think it's funny, I didn't share with anybody or ask anybody about what I was going to say tonight, and the word that has kept coming up is trust when we're dealing with